Hey Dramaverse, it's India, and I am currently in a full-blown drama hangover now that TV ends. Another Oh Hae Young has officially ended, and quite frankly, it's rough. The cast may have the option to go to Phuket to recover from the show, but all I have are reruns and the option to put Ben's Like a Dream on repeat. Seriously, this show played that song no less than 4 times in every episode, and I can't even be mad about it because it's probably one of the most perfect soundtrack songs ever. Ben's voice is like butter. The whole soundtrack is pretty awesome if I'm being honest, but that's another story for another day. Today, we're gonna try to work through my drama hangover with the final review on this show, because this is how I cope, apparently. So Another Oh Hae Young is about 2 Oh Hae Youngs. And if you've already watched Another Oh Hae Young, don't worry, I have you covered on this part. Oh Hae Young 1, Oh Hae Young 2, who continue to cross paths all throughout their lives and are compared to each other, with Hae Young 1 getting the short end of the stick when she's compared to Oh Hae Young 2, who is liked by everyone. Eventually, Hae Young 1 ends up falling in love with Park Do-ki-young, who was jilted at the altar by Hae Young 2 and was also responsible for accidentally destroying the life of Hae Young 1's fiance, which led to her fiance calling off their wedding the day before it was scheduled to happen. Obviously, I went into this show for Eric, but I was given so many more reasons to stay. While I didn't necessarily agree with Oh Hae Young 1's consistent need to blame Oh Hae Young 2 for all her bad luck, I did think it was a human response to what she was going through. All of the bad things that happened in her life seemed to lead back to Oh Hae Young 2, so of course Hae Young 1 blamed her because, well, it's just easier to blame someone else for the problems in your life, I guess. But we can all agree that the problem wasn't Hae Young 2's likability and how it affected Hae Young 1, but more people's preference for Hae Young 2 and how they unfairly treated Hae Young 1 in turn, which was unfair. One thing I loved about Hae Young 1 was that she wasn't trying to be anything other than herself. Even if being herself meant that she was loud, talkative, dramatic, over the top, awkward, and broke out in weird dances with her mother, who removes her clothing every time she got mad. But she presented herself to the world just as she was, and when you do that, you run the risk of meeting people that decide they don't like you, but you are twice as likely to meet those that like you exactly the way you are, and those are the only people that matter. Your name is important because, well, it's yours, but it's mainly just a way for people to know what to call you. It's up to you to show people who you are. Sure, it seems so easy to do what Hae Young 2 does, which is to be exactly what everyone else wants her to be, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be liked. But when you live according to other people's idea of who you are, you end up living an insincere life, which only leads to insincere connections with other people. Which brings me to Park Do-ki-young. Where do I begin? Now, I actually liked Do-ki-young. No, really, I did. Not just because he has Eric's everything, but Do-ki-young didn't do that thing that I hate in stories with characters that can see the future, which is usually nothing. I'm talking to you, Mayday's Choice. Even though you didn't really make a choice. When he finally figured out what his visions were about, he made the decision to make changes, and that change was loving Oh Hae Young as much as he possibly could. Sure, it took him a while to get there, and he messed up bad. You can't just destroy someone else's life and not pay the consequences, but he never expected not to pay those consequences. We can't do anything about the past. We can only change the future, and you change the future by truly living in the present, which is what these characters ultimately did. Also, speaking of things I loved, can we talk about the cinematography in this show? Amazing. I guess if I have to pinpoint what I didn't like about this show, and the list is very short, I'm not entirely sure we needed Do-ki-young's psychic abilities. It kept the angst going, but between Hae Young 1 and Do-ki-young's parents, Hae Young 1's ex-fiance, and all the happenings with the other characters in this show, there was enough going on. Teasing us with a death that we all knew wasn't going to happen was unnecessary. And if anyone was able to figure out the science behind those visions and why Do-ki-young was having them, please send it to my email address noted below because I am lost. Also unnecessary, this. Okay, yes, they had a one-night stand. Yes, that resulted in a pregnancy. Yes, they both had the same type of crazy, but did that have to mean they had to have a relationship? Whatever romantic feelings they tried to establish between these two felt forced. Listen, I know society frowns upon it, but there's nothing wrong with two people co-parenting. Just because two people sleep together in a drunken stupor doesn't always mean they have some deep-seated feelings for each other. If I actually had feelings for every person I said I love you to after having a few too many shots of whatever I decide to drink that night, I would be in relationships with half of the crowd of every bar I've ever been to, as well as half of the people I saw while I was walking home that same night. Something tells me the homeless guy that hangs out on the corner doesn't exactly have the means to support my lifestyle of binge watching dramas and insane craving for grilled meats. As long as a child feels loved by both parents and sees that their parents have mutual respect for each other, even if they don't have romantic feelings for each other, there's hope. Overall, I loved this series, and it gave me hope for the rest of 2016, which I know is a mistake, but just let me have this. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Another Oh Hae Young. You can find me on all of my social media channels, and oh yeah, Cheryl from CandyCandy.com and I made a podcast. We're kind of excited about it. Check it out when you can, and when I say when you can, I mean like now. Go, go, go.